Welcome, everyone. This is a free information call to learn about Gateway to Gaia and the Land Healing Alchemy program, or actually Land Alchemist training, I should say. Used to call it that. And so I wanted to give people an idea, a little more sense of who I am, and to ask questions and to feel like if that's a good fit for you, it feels like the energy is working, and that you feel in resonance with kind of what I'll be offering. So I'm going to share about the program and answer questions. I want to do a little meditation too. I thought it would be fun to lead something, because a lot of the teaching I do is either through direct experience or journeys or practices and rituals. Some of it's kind of information, but I tend to not do well to learn through a lot of heavy information. I have trouble integrating it, and I don't feel like nature teaches that way either. So a lot of the way that I got into this really was through the direct teachings of nature, and especially the elementals and the wildflowers and places. And so just a little bit about my background. It really started with making flower essences and being called by the air elementals. And they really wanted me to learn that medicine, to make that medicine for people, later use it with the land as well. And it was just such a beautiful experience. And it became the work that I did and still do, but really concentrated on working with flowers, aromatherapy and flower essences, and homeopathy and herbs, and really working in that way. And then from there, I was called by the earth elementals to work with land. And so I spent 3 years working much more consciously with land and making altars and working with land spirits. So a lot of my work kind of came out of these direct experiences of learning from the land, learning from the flower fairies, learning from the dragons. I spent time in Hawaii working with the fire elementals. I spent time working with all the different elementals in different ways. It was kind of like I was an apprentice of these elementals and the elements. And so over time, it just became such a beautiful expression, and more it came into how we work with the land. That, I was an energy healer, a flower essence practitioner, creator, and that was a really important part of it. But more and more, and I think a lot of you are feeling this, I can see this all around, that we're really being called by Gaia, and really be called by the fairies or the dragons or the mountains or the trees. And I know we all have different ways we relate, but those relationships have just been such a huge part of my life, and wanting to be like a voice for these beings, to bring forward their teachings and make those experiences so we all can have that for ourselves. So a lot of it for me, it feels like empowering you to find your way, your relationships, opening that gateway to Gaia. I know a lot of you already are doing that work, and I see a lot of the people I work with are pretty advanced in what they're doing. But I really love to hold spaces so you can practice more. I love what you said, Summer, about the first part of the course, the Gateway to Gaia, is to have those time and space to practice, and even the discipline, right? I think we all, right, having that space. And for me too, like having that group and that space and intention to really go deeper with nature, deeper with these beings, deeper with whatever way we want to bring that strength to our work, especially with Gaia and the land and water. And what I notice is, like, I feel so much more powerful in my presence and in my ability to affect change and help the transformation and the ascension process when I am in service and also when I have this land council, it's what I call it, around me and working with me, right? Because it's when we have these powerful spirits with us, they really are the guides. They're the ones that are doing work, and we're in that council with them. So the first part of the course is a lot about relationship. And what's really exciting, I thought it might be fun to pick a card or two from my Sacred Spirit of Gaia deck. And I just finished my book, which is goes into these same 44 different sacred spirits. And the book is a memoir. So there's lots of stories of like how I got into this, how I've worked with different beings, how they kind of like to work with me. And then also there's how you co-create with them. So I included rituals and practices. And so I'm really excited because this week I'll get the proof copy back, and that'll become kind of like a manual for this course where we can read the different sections on the ancestors. We start with Gaia, Mother Earth, and then work with different ancestors and spirits of land, fairies, fairy realm, the she, and then different elementals of water, fire, earth, and air. And then we work with the plant spirits, and then we work with the creatures like unicorns, Bigfoot, and animals and such. And I know 44 is a lot. So each section is 11 weeks. Of course, we're not gonna be able to go over everything, but each section has like 3 to 6 different beings. So we'll get to at least deepen in, and maybe if different people connect with different beings, then there'll be an opportunity to share that and bring the different beings into the circle and start creating those, what I call land council, which is a group of spirits that we work with to create healing, land alchemy healing. And those spirits can include your personal spirits, these Gaian spirits, and also angels, ascended masters, everything. So there's a lot of spirits involved, but it sounds like you. So you're all into it. So let's, I thought it would be fun to kind of pick one. I picked cards for everyone in the last year. I did land alchemy training there was 11 of us in the fall program, and then a few stayed for the second part. This year, I felt it was important to really spend more time. There was like such deep work with the land alchemy that it was almost like it was amazing, but it was a lot of integration. And so I wanted to make sure that we had time to really have those relationships and start practicing those things with the land. And then when we moved into the second part, the land alchemy training, then we're already kind of ready to go and more like integrated, embodied, and feeling that energy of how to work with these beings. So night creatures. So that's everything from the night blooming jasmine or these daturas to the full moon rituals, the bats, the coyote, also that real rhythm, right? The lunar rhythms are so important. So why don't we just take a moment and just tune in. We'll just sort of center ourselves in this circle with these night creatures. And I'm going to read the little night creature thing. There we go. Go outside at night. I roam free in the darkness of night when quiet magic unfolds and unfurls. As a night creature, I thrive in reflective light of a silvery moon or darkness at a new moon. I am bat, coyote, owl, raccoon, wolf, and firefly. Stingray, cat, and luna moth. I am blooming moonflower. I remind you to open to the secret mysteries of night fairies and creatures. See you in the dark. With time, your eyes will adjust and other senses heighten. And the night creature ritual is spend time in nature in the dark. When do you see or hear? What do you see or hear in the dark that you don't see or hear in the day? Are you afraid of what you can't see? I was told to pick 2 cards, so I'm going to pick another one. Pan, the essence of nature. And I always like him as a frog because, like, if I'm out in nature, tuning to Pan, it always seems like there's a frog that croaks or makes itself known. And to me, maybe just together we can call in Pan and kind of open to that energy. To me, it's that quality of the essence of nature. Just allow that energy kind of fill our circle, invite us into this Gaian gateway, into the magic, the imagination, the creativity, the joy. And just open to the sensations and attunement of Pan. You might even hear some flute music. Pan, I revel in the experience of meeting you. I am Pan, the essence of nature. Through frog, I offer oneness with nature's dance of joy. The more you let go and experience nature, soften your heart and allow your creative imagination to run wild, the more mystical experiences you'll have. As human, you are valued and needed as much as the most glorious old growth tree or prancing deer. The soul of creation is one being who loves all its parts. I am the force of nature. When you hear me croak, remember I am Pan. Feels so tingly and nice. Kind of feels like it helped ground the energy too. So yeah, just take a few more deep breaths with Pan. And just today I got an email from a woman that was in last year's the land healer training. And it was so, I always like to hear from people who've gone through the program to kind of get a sense of their experiences. And she was saying how she during the class last September, she actually bought land in a new home out in Lyle, Washington. And so it's been a new relationship with her with this land. And she was just overwhelmed with joy at having like all these tools, all these practices, all these ways that she can connect with her land and love her land and and kind of knows what to do with it. And that's what I really noticed too about working with a group through this, is like it gives us a chance to really get to know where we live, or if there's a place, not necessarily where you live, but an important place for you, like a place that you can focus on and really bring your honoring, bring your joy, bring your practices and rituals. And in that way, those are how those relationships open and things can happen. We can tune in intuitively and start bringing more understanding of like, what is your land about? What are who are the spirits there? Are the ancestors feeling settled? Are there places that would like an altar? Are there trees that want attention? And so part of this journey is to really go deeper into the places we live and the lands we are on. And then from there, being able to extend and go out to other places. And that may include doing this as in service to others as work. So I know people have different ways they're gonna be using this. And I love that a lot of people that are healers for humans are getting more into working with land, because so many of those things, I know we have an acupuncturist here with us, Kendra, like when we can use those ways that we're healing others, energy medicine works, whether it's for our own bodies or other people or animals, right? But it also can be extended out and used for portals and grids and the waters and the mountains. And so when those relationships open, it's just a very magical experience. And that's kind of the path that I've been on for 25 years now, of just really opening my intuition, opening my spirit and listening. And so listening often involves receiving too, right? Being present and offering what we can in service is such a practice for how we can show up and be present in the new earth. So we'll be going over ways that can really make this work simple as well. For a long time, I was putting together materials for this, and I kept asking the fairies and elementals to help me like make this really simple and clear for people. So like the energy's there. And what they gave me was this beautiful 4 words. And I realized they also tied in with the elements. And so the first one is invitation. And so when we accept an invitation, and it can be like from me to you, or be an invitation from your land to connect with the spirit, or an invitation from a forest that's calling you in, or a body of water that keeps asking to come, like you're being invited. And so when we're working with land alchemy, invitation is that first step. And then the second one is presence. And that, of course, is just showing up in our power, in our beauty, with our gifts, present in a neutral way. And so more and more with the shifts we're going through, being present is really the key. It's not, to me, about trying to work with land, trying to fix or heal or improve or make something different. What I noticed with land alchemy, just fully being present, being in the council with these different beings, showing up together, listening for what wants to happen, listening for your role in it. And then this dance happens. And just by holding that presence and neutrality, that changes happen on their own. And I think a lot of you probably understand this already. But but it's a really important shift that we're going through to be in our mastery, to, not be trying to rescue anyone or the land or places, not trying to, be in the victim, rescue, perpetrator kind of disempowerment triad. Like now is really being in our mastery. And a lot of that is just truly our presence. Like we're way more powerful than we know. And then the third aspect is co-creation. And that is kind of the invitation, especially in the first part, of creating relationships and meeting these different spirits and co-creating with them, partnering with them, being in these circles, weaving these energies together. So that sort of is self-explaining, I think. And then the fourth piece is the transformation. And that's what naturally happens when we gather with and accept the invitation. We show up, we co-create, we're ready to co-create and partner and be in these councils. And then transformation is the alchemy. It's like, right, turning all the lead or the heaviness into gold, into that new consciousness of the new earth, which really is about us. So I love that they shared that. It feels really like a simple way to, just keep it simple for ourselves. So does anyone have any questions so far? Anything? I do want to show, well, you can leave them in the comments or if you want to unmute yourself. But we can also do that later too. But if anyone has anything now, looks like we're good. All right, I just want to show you for a moment the, I'm going to do screen share. And just give you a little idea of, can you see my website here, Camilla Blossom? Okay, make sure you get the right one. See, I'm gonna close the other one. Great. All right, this is my website, and I just wanted to show you about the membership portal because it's like such a great tool. And then all the videos and the materials and the book actually is on there. I will be sending everyone the actual paperback book, 2 books, my Flower Essence book and the Sacred Spirit of Gaia book. But it's nice to have everything in one place. It's really easy to go with, and also to follow along, like if you miss one or, so I just want to show you real quick. You go into services, down to programs, and there's a login. I'm happy to share this later, but just to show. And then you go to courses. This is after your payment's made. It'll just let you go into courses. And so here's, I have all my courses here, but for you, it would show Gateway to Gaia, Land Alchemy. And then this is sort of the format for the course. And so it's got these nice little sections, like here, just an example, a welcome section. And then when you finish that, you can tell. I also put the schedule of classes up here, so you can keep track of when we have class, and also how to, it includes membership. Mentorship, 3 hours of mentorship with me. I really like to have time that's one-on-one with everyone. So having one where we get to know each other and get to know your land, and also come up with some flower essences that might be helpful for you and your land. And then having one in the middle. And then one kind of as a follow-up, to sort of see how to integrate and move what you've learned through the course into your life. So that feels good to have that time together. I have some entry questions that kind of help. I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but just to give a few things, you know, what your intention is, what you would like to get from the course, more about you. And then once we get into the part one, each section will have, I haven't filled these in yet, but we'll be going through, here, let me move this over so you can see. Each section is like a chapter in my book too. And so we would be focusing on Mother Earth, Pan, and the Cosmic Mother Tree. And then the next week is the ancestors. And so we have a chance to really go in deeper with each of these groups of beings. And then also for those that want to pick ones they'd really like to work with. So, and then for the land alchemy part, part two, I have kind of developed from last year doing this work with the group that it would work well to even have like something you could print out, and it has, actually, let me do it this way. And it just kind of goes through like a cheat sheet for 21 land alchemy practices. And, you know, I'm like, probably like a lot of you, like very intuitive and very like to tune into the land and the spirits and like what's going on here. But I also find that the fairies and elementals keep saying like, have a good structure. Like when you're doing this work, especially to begin with, and even now, like I'm really happy I did this because it kind of outlines here. I think you can see some of them down here. And yeah, here's starting one. These are kind of the list of some different ones. So it gives you a way to like learn a lot of different practices and things that may come up. They won't all come up for everything, but let's say you're on a land and it just feels like there's a lot of ghosts on the land and there's been, you know, hauntings and stuff. So that might mean you really want to go in and work with the discarnate energies, the ghosts and the spirits. Where another land, it may be, when we were at the Fairy Congress, I did an immersion and we worked a lot with the historic land imprints. So the historic land imprint clearing. And of course they can cross over, but what's nice about learning this way is, and everything's outlined too, that even when we're done with the course, like if you go and let's say you're working on a project for somebody and doing a land clearing, you can use the list like, oh, you know, I'm really feeling like there's portal clearing needed here, but I don't totally remember how to do that. So like this will lead you through a process to show you like how to work that way. And so all these practices really, I mean, some came through some teachers, especially like Marshall, Golden Eagle Jack, a native indigenous man who I worked with quite a bit. Other ones just really directly from spirit and working with land. Had a few other teachers here and there, but I tend to be someone who the element like direct teaching from the spirit. And so I really like to encourage that from all of you too, like to have practices and rituals so you can like try them yourself and then have your own experiences and go, oh, you know, this would be even better. Like, this isn't like you have to do that this way. I'm not really that kind of a teacher where you know, if you sign up, you have to do exactly this, but it's really to empower you into the practices, but give you some good tools. We also go over a lot of tools like working with color and sound, flower essences for sure. So that's a big one for me. There's a couple more: land soul retrievals, play and pleasure, how to do a land ceremony, grief ceremonies, clearing land contracts. So there's quite a few different practices, and then also just practices that I feel are, I'm going to come out of here now. Like there's a lot of practices because land work is so powerful and you're working with so many different beings. It really is important that we're grounded, that we're aligned, that we're clear. I really love using the pendulum, and I have to say, bringing back the use of this, I used this with my group last year, and a lot of them had tried using them before, but then when I introduced it to the group, oh my God, they were going crazy over it. They love it. And it's a really wonderful one to use for land because you can actually use it for confirmation, the yes and no, but you can also actually use it to do work on land, to do actual clearing of land, to identify places that you want to work, ask questions. I know we're doing a lot of talking, but let's take a little breath here. Might do a little sound here. I think the fairies are excited too, so they're like, switch my sound thing. All right, I think I will make a little offering. I have some mica here, a little offering to all the spirits we're working with and all your spirits of where you are. And I do want to, yeah, maybe we'll move into more of an inward process. That's enough talking for right now. So I'd also like to do some tobacco and just honor the indigenous spirits, those beneficial, healed and whole spirits of the lands where each of us live. And so if you want to just tune in, if you know the names of the tribes, or not, just holding that that sacred honoring and recognition of these places we do live and the spirits that are there that have been taking care of Gaia for so long. Where I am, it's the Chinook, the Cowlitz, and the Yakima. I know the Blemi people. Thank you. And just really call in these fairies, elementals, land spirits to be present in circle with us. So I'd like to do a little inward journey using our breath, connecting with each of the elements and each of the dragons, or if another being shows up, or even an angel, that's fine. But it's an opportunity to just spend a moment to tune in and connect more with the spirits of land. And also it might be a chance to kind of check in and see how you're resonating, who's showing up for you, how does this circle feel, is this the work you're drawn to? I mean, obviously if you're on the call it is, but to just get a little more clarity, you're welcome to do that, because when we call in all the elementals, they love to manifest with us, and so we can ask them for that guidance. All right, so why don't we just take a moment and go inward, close your eyes. And And just connect with your divine self, your heart. And then we'll plug into the crystalline grid of Gaia, Mother Earth, and all those amazing crystals and that energy of the grid. Ground into her, all the way into the center, crystalline core. You can imagine roots of a tree or crystals. And gather your energy up for the day, from the day. And then open your branches and your crown above and connect to the crystalline grid of the sun. The Divine Mother, Divine Father, the Source. And just let yourself connect with the crystalline grid within your own body. Just feel that vertical axis, and then we'll be grounding with each of the directions. Like you're in the crossroads. So we'll connect with the east first, and it may be a little different than what you're used to the east, but we're gonna start with the earth and our body. And I want to just teach you the breath really easily. It's just breathing in and out through your nose and opening that intention to connect with the earth, the element of earth, and the earth elementals in the east. You can face out towards the east or stand in the east, whatever's more comfortable. And we're going to honor our body, our physicality, grounding, the struggles, the joys, all of it about our bodies. And then we're going to welcome in Earth Dragon. Like I say, if you see an angel or a gnome or a different spirit, just go with it. But we're just inviting you to connect with a guardian spirit of Earth that wants to work with you. Just exchange whatever energy you want with this being. If you want to touch each other, or energetically touch, sort of a physical thing, or hug, or bow, or you may want to connect your third eye with the third eye of the dragon, or this being. Or connect through rainbows from your heart to this being. This may be a personal earth dragon. It may be one from your land. You're welcome to spend a moment and just ask anything this being wants to share, a name, a color, an energy. And really let yourself receive. The dragons are ascension guardians for us at this time. They're like our angels of ascension. I can see a lot of beautiful welcoming of the dragons. When that feels complete, just give your gratitude. And we're going to turn towards the south. Or move to the south. And we're going to take some breaths of fire And these can be strong if you just open your mouth and take an inhale. It's kind of like taking sips of fire, and then exhale through your nose. It's pretty hot out, so you don't have to do it too much. So, and welcome the fire element, elementals, that spirit energy. Welcome the fire dragon. Or Archangel Michael, or salamander, fairy, the fire itself. And just welcome this life force into your body, this creation energy. And let those sips of fire just energize your being. Let that fire dragon be present with you and help you, like, tune into your spine, tune into the energy of fire that runs through your spine. Kundalini energy. You might start feeling more flow. And also honoring that sometimes fire can be a powerful energy that's not always comfortable. So just honoring any discomfort or even noticing, like in certain elements and with the elementals, is there certain ones that kind of bring up a little fear or just feel really comfortable for you. So it's good to check in, see where you're at. And letting that Kundalini from Mother Earth move up your feet into your nervous system, into your bones, up your body, can be very energizing. As well as letting that sun energy of the fire, the sun, down through your crown. And letting that balance for you. And if there's any communication or sparks or energy, sometimes it's not with words, sometimes it's more energy and light, sparkles, snappings of fire. You can really feel the power and excitement of these dragons connecting with all of us. So honoring the dragon. If there's anything more, check in with. Give our gratitude. Thank you, fire dragons. And then we're gonna turn to the west or move to the west. And here we're gonna breathe in through the nose and out through an open mouth. So in through the nose, out through an open mouth, and this is a water harmonizing heart breath. And this should help cool you off too if you're in a hot place. And we're going to ask for the beautiful water beings, those myrrh and devas and water dragons, whoever wants to show up in the west with the waters. You can even imagine waters flowing over you and in you and around you. And let that breath really harmonize your emotions, your feelings, your heart, your womb or hara. Really drop into the heart space and invite that water dragon or water elemental, or the element of water. If you want a purification, wash clean, clear. And also bubbles. Sometimes there's effervescence bubbles around the water. Just allowing that. Those bubbles might have some energies for you, some magic. Invite them in. Take a couple more breaths, connecting with this water dragon. And the whales feel like they work really closely with the water dragons, dolphins and whales. And give your gratitude. And a lot of the communication through this works through our feelings. So communication may have happened more that you felt it, or your emotions were affected. So just trust that. Your gratitude towards meeting your water elemental. And then we'll move to the north, or face the north, and honor the earth. The air. And these breaths can be really strong, but they're breathing in and out through the mouth. And if you start feeling it, you can kind of take a break and then do a little more. They can be very powerful. And here we are in the air, connecting with spirit. Here we're connecting with the air dragons, the wind spirits, the winged ones. It's also the place of the ancestors, grandmothers. So maybe a place, because the air elementals help us open communication with spirit and with the elementals. So just breathing that way can help you activate more intuition, more communication, more conversation with the elements and elementals. So feel that spirit of the wind, the air all around. Beautiful. If there's anything more you need to connect with and honor and thank this air elemental, spirit of the wind. And then to complete the circle, like face the east or walk to the east, and then we're moving into the center. And here we're just breathing again through the nose. This is the ethers. And in the center, this is our place of wholeness, our place of centering. We surround ourselves by these beautiful elementals, dragons, spirits. You can face each of the directions again and honor them, and just ask for that energy to come to you, to be received by you in the center. Place of healing. And if you wish to, ask the elementals, or ask yourself actually first, like, what is it that you wish to manifest with the elementals right now? And let that intention just move through. Let that sense of being in the circle, being with them all. Kind of open the doors for you. Open this gateway to Gaia, this magic, creativity, imagination. And even if you don't get some words, just be with the energy of it and let yourself receive. And you can also ask about your land. You know, we're stepping into this circle of creating with these beings and co-creating with the land council, doing land alchemy. So if there's any more communication about working with the land, I know they love it when we do. Just give yourself an opening. If they want to work with you on your land, on other lands, on Gaia, in the waters, the mountains, the valleys, different places. And then give your gratitude to all these beings and for their presence, their connection. And if these are some new relationships for you, you're welcome to begin working with them. If you've worked with them before, I think they're ready to go deeper with you and explore more practices and conversations and ways to connect. So very gently we'll start bringing ourselves back, grounding. And I do want to invite some flowers with us today. I went and picked some the sunflowers that I planted on the seeds in the garden where I garden, and they really wanted to be with us today. So I just want to invite those spirits of the plants and the flowers and their magic to join us as well. And I really do see that this circle is like an astral temple. Like the way I create it is that I create this container that's multidimensional, and yes, we'll be working in this physical way and maybe even in person if that works for some of you, but also that, you know, some of this work is like we're going into these other realms and these journeys. And then we're also going out on the land and doing practices and doing physical things. So they're sort of bringing that integration. So I just lost track of where I was going with that, but I think you get the idea. Yeah, just the different ways that we learn. And oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to say that was so beautiful with the former student who emailed me today. She was so happy to have all these tools and practices, and she was saying that whoops, I'm starting to float off. I think I need to ground a little. Well, it'll come back to me in a minute here. Why don't we open it up to questions? I'm gonna unmute people. Well, I guess you can unmute yourself, so if there is any questions or if you want to put any comments. Oh, I know what I was going to say now. What really was thrilling to her was this sense that now, like, she took this course and then now the land was her teacher. And I mean, of course, that's going to be the case through the whole thing, right? But I think in her case, she was on land, she knew she was leaving, and so there was a process. But really, I guess I want to really stress that land is your teacher. These beings that I'm going to introduce you to, and catalyze these relationships with. I think that's part of my gift, is that I do catalyze this or others, and I do hold that space for you to create those relationships and then be in, learn from the land directly. That I give you experiences so that you can have your own experiences to learn from. Yeah.
Thank you so much for allowing us to go inwards in that way. I was just entirely curious about your process, or I associate usually the east with air and the north with earth. So I was wondering if you could speak to that a little bit.
Yeah. This was something, this is good to credit some of my former teachers, Thomas and Marilyn Twin Trees. They work a lot with crystals and elementals and the elements. And so when they channeled this breathing process exercise, it just came in the importance of starting with our body. And so I know that I usually work with the east is air, the south is fire, the west is water, and the north is earth. So when I do my ceremony, I do work that way, but for this specific one, there was something powerful about starting with our embodiment and our body, and then using fire to energize and create and bring life force into our body, and then the harmonizing with the water, and then the connecting with spirit. So there is like, I think I've had this come up in other classes because other teachers I've had, like Maya teachers, they have a whole different system for what's element goes with what direction. And I realized too, like some places that are in the southern hemisphere, their north is their fire, and it's because the sun is coming more from the north. I thought, oh, well, that makes sense too. So that's kind of the reasoning how I do it. But I also really encourage people, like, what is it in your body that it feels like when you face those directions? I don't care what it is, but we really need to find our own answers to, and not just rely on someone else's teaching even, right? This one, I do like doing the body first, so that's why I did it. But yeah, I like to encourage people when they're confused about the directions to find their best way. This is kind of a drawing, I guess I draw on the influence of a lot of traditions, but I don't follow anything but what comes through me. And that's sort of how I like to teach it too. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Thanks. Yeah, no, that makes very
And
good
thanks
sense.
for asking, because
Yeah.
I like to credit where that came from. So appreciate that. Anything else? All right. Well, yeah, feel free to reach out to me if, I can also stay on the call after if you want to ask, after the recording. I definitely respect, confidentiality and keeping a clear space when we are doing this work. Obviously, this is recorded for, sharing what this work is, but once we're in the course, there's a strong container of confidentiality. So I wanted to share that as well. So if you do decide to sign up, like I say, it includes the 22 Zoom calls, the 11 in one series, and we have a break for 2 months and then another 11. I put the schedule up on the webpage. So you can go to my homepage at camillablossom.com and go into the information, and then that page kind of gives you the dates and describes everything, and then you can sign up there. And then, of course, it does include the mentorship time, books, flower essences, the community circles. It will be recorded. I know it's really hard for everyone to come to everything. It will be Monday evenings from 5 to 7. But of course, no one's going to probably make all of them, but they'll all be put as recordings up on the portal. And they'll be, I kind of feel like I'm a very intuitive teacher, so I have like a sort of structure, but what I find is that we're all just show up and there's certain things that want to happen certain times. And so I really like to respect that. Or if, everyone's going through a really hard time, like, okay, let's work with each other and help each other move through what's needed in that way. So, and the same with mentorship, like if people need support with like ancestor healing, like different things can come up in this work because a lot of us have ancestry that was doing this kind of work and in deep relationship with the elementals and fairy realms. And so there can be, traumas that surface, and a lot of that's going on even for the global traumas and that sort of collective consciousness. So I just like to be of support, when we are in our individual mentorship for whatever people need for those times as well. So I really enjoy, one more thing, just really enjoy getting to know people. Like I love teaching, here and there, but what I find most rewarding and just the kind of person I am, I think I am kind of a private person and I tend to take a while to get to know people. And so I really love being with a group over time and really getting to know each other. And I found that a lot of people in my last group are now friends now, and it sort of continue on this community building. And so just to kind of share that as well. And a lot of the more stories, like just about my experience, will be in the book. So I didn't go into a lot of that, but feel free to reach out. Yeah. And thank you all so much for coming. Really appreciate it. I'm going to stop the recording.